need this.
We are live.
Oh, hello.
Hey, everybody.
Hello. Welcome.
I'm Josh. This is Sarah.
Hello. We're just trying to make sure we've got the setup okay here so I can see comments on this computer as it goes in. But tonight we are just going to do a little Q&A. We're celebrating 1 year of homesteading as of yesterday. Don't restart now. Our technology is going crazy. We tried to start live streaming on the other video and it didn't work, or on the other computer. So we just got on the tablet. So we should be good now. So yesterday was our 1 year of homesteading in Nova Scotia, April 1st. Last year we bought our house. So it was not a April Fool's joke, though we thought it was pretty funny that we closed on April 1st. So if you just watched the whatever it was called, anniversary episode just a minute ago, thanks for watching. I get really nervous at live streams, so I'll just warn you now. But it's fun. So if you have questions as you come in, just drop them in the comment section beside, and we'll try to answer those ones too. We've got some questions that we got over on Instagram earlier this week. And if you're not already following us on Instagram, feel free to hop over to Instagram, and we're over there at Sissibu Acres Homestead as well. And that is our cat trying to get food from above the stove. So I'm going to get him down. No, that's not yours. Can we say hi? Can I say hi? We know that Seal is a favorite, so here he does not want to look at the camera. Okay, well, we'll let Seal sit down. Do you want me to type on this computer here?
I got it.
Okay. So we're just going to go through the different questions, and feel free to drop your questions. Hi, Katie. Oh, actually, I think that's Lois. Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so let me pull up the questions here. So the question that we asked what people have questions about is just in general questions about homesteading. So the first question that we got was, do you get any downtime or ability to relax, or do you always see something to do? Is Seal climbing on your back?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Seal.
It's like acupuncture.
So do you want to answer that question?
Why don't you take this one?
Okay, so do you get any downtime or ability to relax, or do you always see something to do? So like in context of the homestead, there's always something to do, I would say, but I'm really good at relaxing. I'm really good at taking time off. For me, it's harder to motivate sometimes to get up and do the next thing. So I have to actually work at motivating, if that makes sense. Yeah. Do you have a hard time to relax, or are you always looking at the next thing to do?
I would say that just the way my brain works, the next thing to do is always there. And so it takes a little bit of effort to relax, but relaxing is also part of the lifestyle. Like this evening, we just went and we put our geese out on the water for the first time, and ducks, and we just went and watched them. Like it was
really cool to see.
You know, you could look at it as we were just making sure they're okay, but it was also that it was really cool to watch.
Yeah.
Because that was possibly the first time those birds have ever been on water.
Yeah, we're not totally sure.
We've only had them for
3 months? Yeah.
2 months.
Oh, yeah.
In January,
Yeah.
But
so it was a homesteading tour, so it was something else to do. But it's funny, what feels like relaxing now is different, I guess, in some ways. But I think we kind of are learning to balance each other out like that. Josh motivates me a lot more, and I kind of help him calm down and relax, if that makes sense. But yeah. Okay. Another question we have is it more work or less work than we thought? Or is it about as much work as we thought it would be? So is it more or less, or is it about the same than what we expected, like running the homestead?
I think that yes and no, because I think that this is the first time we've owned our own house, and I think the house takes more work than I thought it would. So I think the homestead is actually a little bit less work than I thought it would be.
Yeah. I think I would agree. Like there's more to home ownership than expected. Because like there's so many more things that you are responsible for when you own the home versus renting. But I think I expected the homesteading work with the animals and working the land and stuff to be a lot more than it is. But I will say this, I think every season is really different. So like wintertime, like I can make work that's not really there, or we can come up with projects to do. And there's a lot of things that it's very much like negotiable. It's not a necessity, which is nice because you get things done that are just things on your list you'd like to do, but you don't have time other seasons. But like I was not expecting springtime to feel this chaotic, like for having so many things that need to be done for the homestead. Like we've been having this conversation a lot over the past week about what is like a glass ball. And like my friend Katie told me about this illustration. It's literally like you hold all these balls that you're juggling, and some of them are glass and some of them are not. And some of them you just have to drop and they won't break and it's okay. And you kind of prioritize by what are those glass balls that cannot be dropped. And so we've been talking about that a lot over the last week because this season feels really full. Like there always feels like a lot of different things that need to be done. And I think too, sometimes like you can get really excited with the homesteading thing and like you want to do all the things, at once. And sometimes it's better to do a few things and do them really well than do everything all at once. So I think it depends on the season. How much work is it more or less than I thought it was going to be? Yep. Yeah. Seal is trying to eat the fresh buns that Josh baked. Seal, our cat, like I'm sure, I don't know why I'm introducing Seal. You all know Seal. But Seal will literally go around and eat a bite out of every bun that's on the counter. So Monica says, hey guys, and congrats again. Thank you, Monica. Looking back over the year, would you change anything? Your approach, any decisions? Will we change anything? Or like any decisions? I'm sure there are decisions that we would change.
I can think of one right now.
Okay.
So we had meat birds last year.
Yeah.
Meat kings. And I would change the day we butchered on because that was the hottest day of the year.
The hottest day.
It was like 35 degrees Celsius.
The hottest day.
We were roasting.
And we thought we were going to be able to butcher 60 birds by ourselves.
Yeah, what did we make it to, 25 or something?
I think we made it almost to 30. But we butchered every evening. It was right when we were here in Nova Scotia. We were in the height of quarantines where nobody could get together. And so we had to butcher by ourselves. Since then, when we butchered our second time, lots of friends within the law came to help us butcher. But that first set of butchering, we butchered probably for 5 days every evening when you got home from work.
It only took us 4 because the last night we're like, we only got 7 birds left. Let's just finish it.
Just get them all done.
Yeah.
So I think we would plot a little differently. But with meat birds too, they get to a certain age and you have to butcher them. It's not really humane to let them go
especially with
past.
that heat we were having. It was not a good situation.
Yeah.
So definitely change the location where we butchered.
Sam says, can we expect an Oak Island treasure episode? Oh my goodness. Well, I'll let you answer that one. Are we going to go to Oak Island?
I would love to go to Oak Island if it was open. I don't think it was even open last year.
I think it was closed last year. So one, not to like spend a bunch of time on COVID, but one weird thing about coming here, we came pre-COVID shutdowns, but we were only here for like 2.5 months and then everything shut down. So we haven't seen Nova Scotia in its time before COVID either. So so like Oak Island, I think they have like tours and I don't know, they have a place you can stay on Oak Island or maybe not actually on Oak Island. I can't remember. But basically like there is like touristy stuff to do with Oak Island, but it's all been, I believe, closed down. So if you know if it's open this year, or maybe it was open last year, we didn't know, then, let us know. How long will Josh's beard get? Oh my goodness.
As long as it wants to. Or until she tells me to shave it off.
We'll just cut it in the middle of the night if it gets too long. Like, we're not going for a Santa Claus beard here. No. Santa can do it better, so we'll just leave it. Okay, we'll go back to some of these homesteading. Hey, Alan. Kevin says, just keep it going, baby.
Yeah, we got a question right here.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Where did you come from?
Where did you come here from?
Yeah.
We
moved here from Ontario. I grew up in Southern Ontario. Sarah grew up in the States. in North Carolina, Virginia. So we met in 2012, 2011, something like that.
Yeah.
And we got married in 2016.
Yeah.
And then we lived together in Ontario until we came out here last January.
Yeah. So we lived in a couple of different places in Ontario, doing a couple different things. And then, we came out more than a year ago now. So this is our 1 year homestead anniversary of owning the house as of yesterday. But we came out in January. Yeah, of last year. Yeah.
Hi, V.
Looks like a salty sea man.
I'm guessing that's your mom.
Oh yeah, that's my mom said the sea man. The beard is the cornerstone of this channel. Oh dear. Okay, well I am a firm believer on him not shaving the beard off. So hi from Toronto. Hi V.
I'm not dignifying that much.
If Sarah grows a beard, y'all will be off the chart. Okay, we're going back to the homestead question. Let's see. Okay. Is it a lot of work? I think we've kind of already answered that one, so we can just.
Yeah.
Oh, this one's fun. Do you guys use handmade soaps and personal care? Who in the community provides that? So we do not most of the time. Not because we wouldn't love to. It's just you can't do everything. We buy shampoo bars. And we buy them from the local bulk barn, which I don't know what the equivalent is in the States. I grew up in the States. I just don't know what the equivalent is. I'm pretty sure bulk barn is just a Canadian store. Basically, they're just a simple shampoo bar, and we buy like the different soaps that they have. We do get handmade soap from a friend locally who makes her own. Yeah. It's her sheep milk, is it not?
It's not her sheep's milk, but it is from sheep milk.
Oh, okay. So it's from someone local sheep milk. But she makes her own, and she makes it all scented. And she does something called felted soap, which I don't know if this is a thing in other places or just in Nova Scotia, but like they take like wool felt from sheep and, well, I guess it does from sheep. But they take it from sheep and they felt it around the bar of soap. And I guess felted wool soap has like antibacterial properties in the wool. And then they put some essential oil in it. So it smells really nice. And so when we have occasion to get those, I love getting those. But otherwise, I would say we mainly just buy a simple ingredient shampoo bar. It's just what we buy. Yeah, we can go to a different one. Sorry.
I was going to say, thanks, Hoagie.
Is there any more questions on there? Do you want to?
I don't think I saw any.
Okay. This one says, do you buy anything from the grocery store and what items?
Good timing for that question.
Yes, we do.
So we're trying to basically cut back what we're buying at the grocery store to basically just bare essentials of what we can't buy locally or grow ourselves.
Yeah.
And so basically that means that we're trying to find a source in Nova Scotia for wheat berries. If anybody out there knows that we
if you know somewhere where we can buy wheat berries or einkorn wheat berries.
Yeah. But basically we're going to buy stuff like flour, maybe some sugar if we run out of maple syrup.
Coffee. We've tried planting coffee trees, but they're not happening so far.
Yeah. So things like that. And then trying to grow as much meat and vegetables ourselves, and then also trying to buy local. If we're not growing pigs this year, so we might buy half a pig or a whole pig from someone else.
Yeah. And there are some items that we're never going to grow. And I'm not giving up. I love bubbly, if anybody knows what bubbly water is. Yeah. And we're okay with that. So we talked about it on our last episode, but we try to practice things kind of the 80-20 rule. If we want to be all in on something, great, but understanding that real life happens and it's okay. You don't have to do things perfectly or an exact way, and it doesn't make it bad. So we kind of try to practice that. So things like the bubbly, or maybe we'll get adventurous and make our own mustard, but we'll probably still buy mustard. Yeah. I saw a question on there.
The coldest temp it got, Kevin, was about 100 or not 100, minus 22, I think. That was with wind chill. Minus 22, minus 23, something like that.
Yeah.
That was here at our place. I think down the coast, it got worse with the wind because it was bitter.
It's funny because like 8 minutes away, you're down in the Bay of Fundy. And I don't know, probably shouldn't give too close of details where we live. But a little bit away, there's the Bay of Fundy. And the temperature can be, in the summertime, when it was like 29 degrees, and guys, this is all in Celsius. Sorry if you're watching and you're in Fahrenheit. But it was like 29 degrees, and we were butchering that day last summer. And we drove down to the coast because we were going to go jump in the water because we were so hot. We get down there, it was only like 17 or 18. And by the time we got down to the water, it was even colder. And we just sat there on the beach and we're like, we've been so melting hot all long. And now we don't even want to get in the water because it's so much cooler because of the air.
It wasn't swimming weather anymore.
Yeah. So it's kind of funny how the climates are kind of like little microclimates.
Yeah. So I just jumped in the pond.
Yeah. So I think somebody back asked about the soaps that our friend makes. Oh, yeah. I'll ask her, but I don't think she has a link. But I'll check with her and see, and then we can share that later. Because I don't know if she makes enough. She her soaps are pretty popular locally with friends and stuff. So I'm not sure if she makes enough to sell online, but I can ask her for you. Are there more?
Preserve the eggs.
Oh, how did the eggs preserving go? Okay, so they're still sitting in the cabinet. The lime has dropped. For anybody wondering about what I'm responding to, I guess just to read the question. The question is, how did the egg preserving go? Like the water glassing we showed in like 2 episodes back. So the lime has dropped in the water.
So the water's basically cleared.
The water is mostly cleared, yeah. So it's totally fine. I've just been occasionally checking to make sure there's still liquid above the highest eggs, because I guess evaporation can happen, but so far it doesn't seem to be happening with these jars. So I'll just continue to check that. From all of my research, everything I've read about, and like the people I've talked to online, who have also done it before for like they're seasoned at it, it's very normal for the lime to drop. So as far as we know, the eggs are still fine.
We'll probably try some in like 6 months just to see.
Yeah. And
but the idea is that they're there for when our chickens molt.
Yes. So when our chickens are molting and they're not laying, which I believe some chickens can molt for up to like 6 or 8 months or something like that. Like, I think that's on the longer end, but I do believe they can molt for quite a long time.
That'll be like this fall sometime.
Yeah. And then also sometimes they just stop laying as much or just stop laying completely in the wintertime. It's so interesting because somebody in town messaged me. They're like, wow, you have a lot of eggs. Like, how do you have eggs? I only have like 1 egg coming in a day or something with several chickens. And then I talked to another person down the road and they've got eggs galore. So I think it totally just depends on your birds and your light levels. And even this close together in our neighborhood and stuff, there are other people who are getting them and not getting them. So I think it'll depend whether our birds aren't laying, and then we'll start eating those. So long answer to that question, sorry, is they're fine for now. Yeah. We'll give you updates as we check and start to eat them.
And Kevin, hopefully I'll get to hunt this fall.
Yeah. Why did you wanted to hunt this past fall, but you could not?
I couldn't hunt this past fall because I couldn't get my cards in order to get my license.
Yeah. Which we think was maybe just a delay because of
COVID
and that kind of thing. But we were actually really blessed with several people gave us game that they had hunted.
Yeah, we got some moose.
Geese, like Canadian geese.
Oh yeah, we got geese, yeah.
Deer liver?
Yeah, we tried deer liver. It was not our favorite.
We learned we're not deer liver fans.
Yeah.
I feel like there's one other thing, but I can't remember. Anyway.
Yeah.
So what do they taste like? V, are you referring to the eggs? Let us know in the comments and I think that's what you're talking about, but we'll go on to another question while we're waiting on that one. This question, somebody asked us, does our church community homestead too? Nope. There are some farmers that go to church there. People who do it way more professionally than we do. But I don't think anybody would label themselves as a homesteader that goes there. But I could be totally wrong. So if anybody's watching that goes to church with us, feel free to let us know if you call yourself a homesteader. That's cool. Because homesteaders, it's very interesting. We're working on a project for the YouTube channel that we hope to bring to you guys, hopefully sometime starting this late spring or summer. I won't give too much details away about it right now, but I'm talking with other homesteaders working on it. And it's funny what everybody's definition of homesteading is, because a lot of people will be like, well, I'm not sure I'm really enough of a homesteader for that. And it was like, dude, if you call yourself a homesteader, we kind of all make up our own definition of it. And I think because it is so rolling. Like it's not just like you're only a homesteader if you do this. Like there's no exact formula for homesteading. I mean, I guess if like you just like plants, that doesn't really make you a homesteader. But if you're investing your time in growing and learning skills that are in the homesteading realm, then I think you're a homesteader. But maybe I'm just a little too free with that definition. V says yes. So what do they taste like? Well, we haven't tasted them personally. So
and again, from what we've researched, it sounds kind of a broken record now, but they're supposed to not be any different than a fresh egg.
Yeah. Now you are supposed to, when you take them out of the lime water, you are supposed to rinse them off because the lime taste, if you crack your egg and some of it gets in some of the water, right? Yeah. The lime water, it would give it a weird taste.
So just rinse it before.
Yeah, you just want to rinse it before. But for the reason we chose to process more of them in the lime water is because from what we've read is when you freeze eggs, the texture is nowhere near the same. So you can't use them the exact same way. Like for scrambled and stuff, you should be able to use these water glass eggs like they're a fresh egg and scramble them up. So we wanted to have that option.
Over easy will be the true test. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. But I have watched and talked with people online that are kind of like mentors in the homesteading world, that they say it looks like cracking almost open a fresh egg. Like the coloring of the yolk might just be slightly less dark or slightly darker. But it's cool to crack them open next to it. Somebody says, hey guys, hi. XCR. Do wild Canadian geese taste very different than home raised?
I can't say that I've ever had goose other than wild, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember if I've ever had a domestic goose.
So going off other poultry we've had, which would be duck and chicken, I would say the meat definitely, like it's supposed to be the white meat, right? Because it's the duck breast, or sorry, the goose breasts, but it's a darker meat visually, and when you eat it, it also, the taste of it reminds me more of a dark meat on chicken than it does
like a wild Canadian goose.
Yeah. So more dark because it's a lot more muscle because they actually use their wings and stuff like that. Right?
It looks like it would be greasy, like wild Canadian geese. Like it looks like it would be greasy, but we did not find it was at all.
Yeah. What did we cut it into strips?
We cut it into strips and fried it. I don't know if I used oil. I can't remember if I fried. We usually fry with oil or coconut oil or olive oil, but I don't know if I used any
bacon grease.
Yeah, or bacon grease if we have it. Yeah.
Always a good option.
Yeah, so I don't know if we can give a very fair comparison because I don't think either of us have ever actually had domesticated geese. I'm not sure.
We might this year. We'll see.
Yeah, we're kind of torn. I don't think we'll eat any of our original 5 geese, but we have geese sitting on a flock right now, or a flock.
Oh, it could be a flock. There's like 20
that's
eggs.
True. There's so many eggs. We've got 2 geese who are sitting on their eggs. So, okay. Anyway, sorry guys.
We're waiting another week for them.
Yeah, I think another week to week and a half. I think we should have some baby goslings. So, we'll go to the next question. Have you ever wanted to give up, like giving up homesteading?
Nope.
I think there are like projects that I've wanted to give up just because it's easy to quit. It's easy when something is no longer romantic. Like this is something I want to say, and this is my little soapbox, and I'll be super quick. Our YouTube channel looks super romantic. I have heard many times, and I'm glad because that's kind of the chill way we're aiming for. Is I want to kind of show a pretty view of it, but I also don't want anybody to be tricked into homesteading thinking like, oh, it's like perfect and easy and it smells great and whatever. It does not smell great. You step in poop and you get pooped on and geese try to bite you and you have to butcher chickens. And like, so
chickens try to bite you.
It's not all perfect and romantic. There are times where you do something and you totally want to give up. Like, I don't know if my mom is referring to the kitchen cabinets as something I want to give up on, but even if you're not, that is a perfect example because these cabinet doors came off in October. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to give up so many times. And now the reason the upper ones are not back on is because we've decided to take them completely down and we're going to do something completely different. So we changed our minds. But the lower cabinet doors are back on. They're refaced. They're painted. But I think there are definitely times where there's projects that you want to give up on. Or at least I felt that way.
Oh, I felt that way. Like I redid our metal roof last summer and there was definitely times where I was ready to throw in the towel on that.
Yeah. Yeah. Because that metal roof has so many stinking angles. Hi, Thorhaven Farm. We were just watching your videos about your cattle today. Raven Frost Homestead says, I'm sure this is answered in your other videos, but what breed of geese do you have? What made you choose it?
I wish we knew.
Why is this such a funny question? Oh my goodness. So in January, we adopted a flock. Someone needed to quickly move their flock. They didn't want to continue with that flock for their own personal reasons. Great people. And so we took on their flock, and with their flock of chickens came 5 geese and 2 ducks, a guinea hen, a partridge in a pear tree, and 9 roosters. So we actually, what kind of geese we have? We've spent some time, get in on the onesie challenge. Okay, oh my goodness, I'm gonna have to show you that video.
Okay.
Anyway, sorry, this is so distraction. So the geese, we have 4 white geese and one that is like this beautiful brown feathering. And he has the bump on his nose. So
but it's not a super defined bump. So
yeah. So
the best we can find is that the white ones might be the Emden, something like that.
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure if I'm saying that right.
Yeah.
But they're almost too big for that. And then the brown one seems, we can't really find anything. There's a French breed that it might be closest to, or he might just be a crossbreed. We really don't know.
Yeah. So I think that one of the cool things we've learned about geese is that they mate for life. Sometimes when their goose spouse dies, they will pick a new mate, but sometimes they will continue to mourn and never pick a new mate. So it's cool because one of our white geese is paired with Feather. I should tell you who Feather is, the brown feathered geese. So we're hoping that we have these beautiful baby goslings come out, but we shall see. He's the one who's defensive of the nest. He's showing signs that he is the papa, but we're not 100% sure.
He'll actually go, when the female's up and eating, sometimes he'll go and sit on the nest while she's gone. The other male, I have yet to see do that.
Yeah.
He won't actually sit on the nest. He'll protect it because he protects the whole flock.
He's like the dominant goose.
But he won't sit on the eggs like the other male will.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, because Feather, who we think is the papa, will definitely.
Yeah.
He sits
or
on
it could be 2 females and then they both might be. Who knows?
Monica says, you are Nova Scotia Martha Stewart. That is how I once described you to a friend. But then in live chats, you come across so real. Good. It shows a great balance. Glad to know you were human like the rest of us. Oh my goodness. So human. So not Martha Stewart. You should see the rest of my house right now. I'm not going to show you, but you should see it.
That's right. Yeah. And that's right, Thor. That's what we might do. We'll see how many geese we get.
Harvesting geese. No one at the parrots. Yeah, I think so. I think so. I have an emotional attachment to these geese that hiss at me every day, which you think you wouldn't.
Talk.
Yeah, but you kind of do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the problem is they came with names. And that's the first thing never do on homestead.
Well, the males came with names.
If you're going to eat it, don't name it. Unless you name it hamburger. Okay, we'll go to another question here. Yeah. This question, I read these questions. I read these earlier and I read some of them to Josh. And this question cracked me up. And not because it's a bad question. It's so funny how it can be interpreted.
It's all about perspective.
Yes. And the question was, do you miss living a traditional life? Which I was so confused when I first read it, because in my head, a traditional life is like going back to the 20s, 30s, 40s. What we strive in some ways to go back and do, but not always, like in every way. We drink bubbly and watch TV. So we're not going back to the 1910s and all that. But in my head, the traditional life is eating off the land, raising your own food, working your land, et cetera, et cetera. But I think in 2021, I had to think what year we're in. In 2021, traditional living is more, work 9 to 5. Yeah. Suburbs, I guess, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Weekends are off and have fun on the weekends and that kind of stuff. And
yeah. So do we miss the life we came from? Like before we were homesteading? Like, to be clear, Josh still works a 9 to 5. Well, the time shifts, but yeah. That's a funny question.
And I would say not a chance.
Yeah. Because I don't think we've left all of traditional living either. Like that definition of traditional living. like we do still do things that everybody else in 2021 does. You see a lot more of the curated old-fashioned stuff sometimes on our vlog because that's what we're putting out there. So I can totally get that question. Yeah, like I think too, like I'm being a YouTuber, like small scale that we are, like I have learned how much you don't see of their life outside of it because you're only seeing what we decide to put out there. Like you don't see my messy house unless I decide to show you my messy house, right? So, yeah.
You don't see us binge watching YouTube in the evening because we're so tired from all the other stuff we were doing.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Okay. So what you're saying is that's that we already did. Oh, I hear you on names. Might have to harvest our Highland bull very soon. Named him, pet him, etc. Oh,
that's a hard one.
Oh, you can call us and cry. We will not judge you. How's the high-speed internet out there? It is great. We have fiber op, and our upload download speed. Like when I do a 30-minute YouTube episode to upload, the upload time takes me less than 4 minutes usually. And I know some people might hate me for that one, but
apparently, Hoagie, our speed is better than most of the speeds in Norfolk County.
Yeah. So there you go. I don't know. The first 9 months we lived here.
No.
8 months, 7 months?
7.
7?
7 months.
For 7 months, we did not have internet. So if you don't have internet, you can survive without it. Just FYI. We're both millennials and we've grown up pretty much with internet. Minus like when we were little, I guess. But like we had a dial-up at least a lot of our lives. You had it a little later in life, I think, right? But you're older than me. Yeah, I was trying to remember how old I was.
You got high speed. Probably when I was 14, maybe.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. I can't remember when we had high speed, but I remember, anyway, this is really digressing. Sorry.
Yeah.
But anyway, we have good internet and we're very thankful for it. So if you're just starting out and you don't have internet at your house, you can still have a YouTube channel if anybody cares. You can still have a YouTube channel without internet because the first 6 months that we had the channel, we did not have internet. So
yeah,
I sat outside the library and used their internet. It's kind of hard to see
Isn't homestead traditional? Well, yeah.
yeah, we would say it is, but it just depends on your definition. Like, you mean you're not binge watching my channel? Hoagie will be there afterwards. Don't worry. Lucky you, we are still on satellite.
Oh, Starlink. Yeah,
that's fun.
Sounds pretty promising. Hopefully it works out.
Okay, this one I think is an interesting question. I like this one. Have you experienced improved health while homesteading or health from homesteading?
I would say it's not like a night and day difference, like a drastic difference, but I'd say overall, yes.
No. I would say I'm a lot less stressed. Like there are definitely times of stress. Like earlier this week if you're just joining the live stream, it's not going to make sense. But if you go back and watch it, it'll make more sense. But when I was talking about those glass balls, like what you're juggling, like earlier this week, I just like freaked out because I was like, how are we going to get it all done? Like there's too much stuff. So there are moments like that, like just any other lifestyle you live. But for me, health-wise, I would say I have felt so much more energized spending more time out in the sun. I like having something to do when I'm outside. I hate just loafing around outside. As much as I'm a good loafer, outside is not where I loaf. But when I'm outside and have a purpose, like doing something with the garden, spending time watching the animals, spending time whatever. So I think that always being outside more is good for us. Like it's healthy for us. And I think just like there's just been less stress in some ways, but I think it just depends. So again, anything we say, I would say, sure, learn from it and stuff, but also everybody's life is going to be different too.
Yeah. Like one thing too is like, it does feel like there's less stress, but on the other side, it's like, we also have like, now we have, since January, we have like, 50 animals depending on us for
everything,
food and water and shelter. And it's like,
so it's a different,
shouldn't that be more stressful? But it's like, no, not really.
Yeah.
But again, it's just like, it depends on on how you look at it and how you take it in. Like it's
Yeah. Like I think it's a lot more responsibility than some instance of our life. Yeah. I think that's an interesting question. Love homesteading, especially putting our own meat and veggies in the freezer. Oh my goodness. Yes.
Especially when you pull it out.
Yes. And you start cooking your own food and you're just like, I grew that. I did that. What? Like, it's so freaking rewarding.
Yeah. We've probably eaten like, I would say at least 40 of our own chickens now, and it doesn't get old.
Yeah. So it's so funny because little story time here. There's sometimes when you order stuff from non-Amazon sources, we get a different delivery guy, like not our typical lady who delivers our stuff. And I'm not sure like what sites. Anyway, sometimes the packages come through a different courier when you order something online. And so in the spring and summer, we were ordering supplies that we couldn't find locally or whatever online for keeping chickens or just different homesteading tools because we're starting out and there's a lot of tools that you need when you're starting out homesteading that it's crazy, all the different little things you can forget. But anyway, so we were ordering lots of these things that we needed to start up with chicken butchering, keeping chickens, all that stuff. And this guy who every time he would come to deliver stuff, he and I would always have these funny conversations. And this gentleman, he would say, "You're not really going to eat all those birds, right? Like you're going to be sick of chicken within a month." And he's like, "How many do you have?" And, like we were growing out enough roughly that we could have 1 to 2 a week because we don't buy luncheon meat anymore. We just eat the chicken on sandwiches. And so he came, I hadn't seen him in probably 6 months because we hadn't been ordering packages, and we ordered something in January and he came to drop off a package and he's like, "Sorry, you sick of chicken yet?" And I was actually surprised to say that we weren't. Yeah. Like
she makes really good chicken.
Oh, thank you. It's cool though, because you just learn different things to cook it with and stuff. But at the same time too, there's something, when you work really hard out in the sun and it's the fruit of your hands. Or the fruit of your labor. The fruit of your hands.
Your labor, yeah.
Your hands grow fruit. This is where I get really
distracted. Growing stuff on your hands.
Yeah, that's weird.
You need to clean those.
No, but this is why I was worried about live, guys. No, but like there's just nothing quite like growing your own things. Yeah. What's the next question? Oh, does homesteading give you guys clearer roles in marriage as husband and wife? No. We'd like know what we've set up our life.
Like we know what chores we do, but that's
yeah. And sometimes we don't know who's going to do what chore, and then sometimes we argue. But I think it's pretty normal, and we just work through. Yeah. Like I think like we're not old pros at marriage or anything, but we kind of already have established how we do things usually.
Yeah.
So no, I don't think so.
Yeah. By the way, these questions we're answering are ones that were given to us or we asked for on Instagram.
Oh yeah. So if you're wondering where that, the best feeling ever when cooking. That's ours. Yes. When you can look at your table and you just be like, oh, nothing came from the store, or only like the bare minimum came from the store, like the flour or whatever. What is part of homesteading that ended up being surprisingly enjoyable?
For me, I would say it's the little moments along the way. It's things I didn't really think about, like 2 mornings ago. Usually I feed the birds in the morning before the sun comes up, but I was a little later 2 mornings ago and the sun was coming up and the birds started chirping, and I was like, if I wasn't out here to feed the animals, I wouldn't be outside and I wouldn't get to see the sunrise from out here. I wouldn't get to hear the birds chirping at the same time. And I love that moment, just seeing the pinks and the oranges coming up on the horizon and hearing the birds welcome the day. And so it's little things like that, or things like seeing the geese on the water for the first time in their lives. Like that would not have been possible if we weren't homesteading.
Yeah. I think I like.
It's the small ones. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, that's good.
Okay. I think I like the or have been surprised by liking the process. I've always struggled with like, oh, I want to get to the next thing. I want to do the next thing. I like moving on to the next thing. And I didn't think I would enjoy like the process of every day you go out and give more water to the geese and they're still setting on those eggs. Or I go to collect eggs from the chickens and there's that broody hen still sitting on those eggs and she's trying to peck me and I'm not touching those eggs. But it's just like, instead of being like, oh, I got to see the baby chicks come or the baby goslings come, it's just like, it's just really cool to research and learn like what's happening in that egg right now, or what's going on. Why is that goose putting feathers in the nest? Like they're trying to warm it up and make sure it's right. And it's just like enjoying that process instead of just always trying to be getting to the finish line, essentially, because when the finish line, then it's done. And it's just like learning to enjoy, learning to enjoy the process of going somewhere, not just trying to get there. If that makes sense.
Yeah, not just picking the tomato, but weeding the tomato and leafing the tomato and the whole process. And planting the seedlings and
and I'm surprised by that because I always like to see the result, because who doesn't, right? Like that's why we're such a fast consumer kind of world that just has to have a result right away. And I think like I'm always super impatient. So I did not expect I know. This is what I was telling Josh earlier. This is the very first time I think I've ever enjoyed a lesson in patience. Because that's what homesteading is it's just lesson after lesson of patience. So yeah, I think, yes. Katie from Lake Farm Cottages says living in the moment. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
So we had one question back here.
Oh, sorry.
Any issues with coyotes or wolves in our area? So we've been told that our area is bad for coyotes, but we got a big old dog that loves to bark, and we think she's the reason why we haven't had a single predator issue.
Yeah. Because like Sadie's been inside during the winter time and she still barks when she hears something outside.
Yeah, she goes outside in the afternoons, and then she's outside like almost 100% of the time in the summer. So, and then we have a guinea fowl in with the chickens now. So he's really like loud. Alarm clock central over there.
Sorry, neighbors.
Yeah, and we haven't heard him go off yet.
Yeah.
So that's a good sign.
Yeah.
And we haven't lost anything predators. So
and like the only tracks we saw in the snow were bunny tracks, I think, and other cats.
Yeah. Some feral cats around.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if they're ferals, but
fair enough.
Yeah, I think they're just neighbor cats, maybe. But
outdoor cats.
Yeah.
There was a bear in the area last winter, something like that, but we haven't seen any tracks or anything on our property. It was in the neighborhood kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, an eagle. We had an eagle. So there is a lake behind. Somebody asked on the other, on our like anniversary video that was playing right before the live stream, and I didn't get a chance to answer, but somebody asked if we are on waterfront, and we are not. We are near the Bay of Fundy, and then there's a lake behind us, but we are not on the property. Like the property behind us is owned by someone else.
We're not on lakefront.
Yeah, we're not on lakefront, but there are eagles apparently that live or nest every year, I think, on that lake or the lakes nearby. So one morning, our bedroom used to be downstairs in the dining room that we're now renovating into the kitchen. Anyway, I was in bed. It was like 8:30 in the morning. I wake up and hear a chicken going. No, not a chicken. I heard crows going berserk, and I thought a chicken had gotten out. One of our meat birds had gone out of the electric fence and gone into the woods, because that's where the crows were going nuts. Crows? That's the ones that circle dead animals.
That's one crows? Of the ones.
So
some vultures do too.
Yeah, some big birds. I think they were crows, making these crazy noises. And I thought, oh crap, one of our chickens has gotten out. There's probably something attacking it. I need to get out there. So, I'm hustling out of bed, getting my boots on, all that stuff, trying to get out there. And I get to the property line from where our grass stops, and it goes into more of the tall grass that's in the woods. And I'm about to push into that tall grass to go look for this poor chicken that I think is out there. And an eagle bursts out, probably 9-10 yards to the left of me, and then up, higher, but like they were probably only like 15 or 20 feet above the ground. and full wingspan. And it was the weirdest thing. And I thought for sure I was still asleep. So why was I telling them that? We're talking about predators.
We're just talking predators.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
the only really
Yeah.
predator we've seen. Yeah.
So, and it didn't do any harm. We've not lost any chickens. So hopefully that will continue. But we do expect at some point it will probably happen that something will get something, because kind of what happens. So that
would be the other. So you're asking about ticks, and guinea hens love eating them. Ticks are bad. So we free ranged a small flock last year, a flock of 5, to help with the tick problem. As long as
chickens,
5 chickens. 5 chickens. We just got the guinea hen in January. So as long as we stay on our lawn, for the most part, we don't see any ticks. It's only as soon as we hit going to the woods that we start seeing ticks.
We found one tick on Josh last summer.
Yeah, and the rest were on Sadie.
The rest were on Sadie, and so we have Sadie. There's like a tick thing that you give dogs, or the vet gives dogs. We didn't give it to her. But then there is like a flea and tick thing that you can do manually as well, and so we did that through the summer months with our dog and our cat. The tick thing just kind of sucks. But you just deal with it. And we have heard that the guineas are great for it. The chickens also debug. Like the chickens, they're not as good as guineas for tick control, but chickens are good at debugging. They're great on potato bugs. Sorry, it's hard to see.
Our only sighting of a bald eagle was also getting its butt handed to it by a murder of crows.
Oh gosh.
Our resident ravens weren't home, so they didn't get to join the fight.
I wonder if that's not what was going on in our woods. Were the crows or whatever fighting with the eagle, or were they, I don't know, having a face off or something? Because it was loud, let me tell you. Wood ticks or deer ticks? They're bigger, so I think they're wood ticks.
I don't know how to tell the difference.
I don't know. Growing up in the South, I always heard, and again, this could be so wrong, but I always heard that deer ticks were smaller. And the ticks that we've seen ourselves and pulled off Sadie and the one off Josh, they were like bigger than what I always heard deer ticks to be. So I would have to Google it and let you know. But I think they are wood ticks. Electric fence helps with bears and coyotes. We have had both get the shock. The coyotes take a wide berth. The bear went up the tree, and we had to call a conservation officer to remove it. Oh my goodness. Yeah, there was one night that we thought we had some kind of wild animal out there. And this is in the summertime when Sadie is outside more. And it was Sadie jumping up against the side of the house onto her doghouse, trying to jump in our bedroom window. So she loves being outside, FYI. But that night scared the bejeepers out of us. So anyway, okay. Okay, you already flipped to the next question. Another question we have from Instagram is, does it take so much of your energy you can't get everything done? So does homesteading take so much of our energy?
I would say it does not take everything. We have enough energy to do what needs to be done.
Yeah.
It's the extra projects that take up the rest of our energy, I guess. It's been a while, I should say. It's been a while since I went to bed and didn't feel tired.
Yeah.
In a good way.
Yeah.
In a good way.
Yeah.
So then I guess the answer would be no. It doesn't take all of our energy to get everything done.
I think it's prioritizing, right? Like in different seasons, it takes different energy. Like the homestead itself has taken a lot less energy in the winter months. There are days like that we had some really cold snaps. Like really cold for here. I don't know if it's comparative, but really cold snaps for us that, like throughout the day, I was having to go out and change waters consistently because we didn't have a heated water.
Every couple hours.
Yeah. And so those days take a lot of energy, but I think overall, no, I think, you just we chose this life. So it's okay, now we just have to learn how to prioritize it. But there are always areas when you do priorities, there are areas that get left behind. So it's, we're not perfect. We have areas that we need to reprioritize and do better. But I think overall, the energy is there to do what you need to do, just like any other lifestyle. Thorhaven Farm says, gotta head out. Talk soon. I might call if I get emotional about our Highland Bull. For sure. You can call us, really. And we'd love to just talk cattle.
Yeah.
Thanks for hanging out with us, Thorhaven. Hoagie says, how big is your property?
7.3
7.6.
7.6 acres.
7.6.
About 3 or 4 of it is fairly swampy, so we're still trying to figure out how to best transform that into either pasture or orchard or whatever we're figuring out.
Yeah.
For. Right now, at this point, it's most likely pasture, but we'll see.
Yeah. There's some swamp-ish. Like, it's not like swamp like I think of like 4 feet of water kind of swamp. Yeah. It's like when we walked it, when we went to purchase the land, like it did have snow and stuff, but it was pretty melted off and it was semi-dry. It's just more mushy and you'll have a lot more moss and ferns and stuff. Yeah. So but we do have hopes of kind of restoring that slowly. I saw on the question here. What's the type of livestock that you don't ever see yourself getting? You already have a guinea fallow. Ostriches for sure. I don't see us getting ostriches or any kind of giant birds.
Realistically.
Sorry. Somebody did suggest that we get ostriches when they sell our geese eggs. That is a definite no. But actual like homesteading livestock in North America.
I think I can fairly safely say I don't think we'll ever get goats.
Yeah, okay. So this might be where we differ.
But
we will go Josh's way on this one because we shouldn't get goats because we don't actually want goats for the purposes of having goats. I just see pictures of adorable little goats. And every time I'm like, we need this. We need this. We need to go right now and pick this up. We need this goat. But I don't want to go. I know some people have great success with goats. People even ask, if you want to get a dairy cow eventually, why not get a goat for dairy?
And they're good for clearing land. They are useful, but for us, they just don't make sense.
Yeah, other than just being freaking adorable. That is 100%.
Unless we want to add one more animal to the petting zoo, we'll see.
Yeah, we're not starting.
So it'd be goats. I could be the one.
Yeah, I think so. Like, I think that just the deterrent of how hard they are to stay kept in. I know people have great solutions and I don't know. I don't see us doing goats, especially not living so close to the road because our house is near a road. I'm just imagining goats running out all on the road and nope.
Pastor Nate asks if we ever consider doing meat rabbits. The answer to that one is a no.
Yeah.
Because we actually had a pet rabbit for a while. And so it's just like,
it's a little too close to home. Yeah. Would you consider a cow? Funny you ask. We would consider a cow. We're not there today, but we shall see.
We're hoping to get a dairy cow or a dual purpose breed.
Yeah.
Soon.
Yeah.
How soon? We'll see.
My wife saw your different reactions to getting a goat. She immediately said, that lady already has one ordered. That's great. I love that comment.
I haven't built the fence yet.
Yeah, no. But I think it was yesterday or the day before that I literally just showed Josh a picture of an adorable little goat. Oh my goodness. Yeah. But they're everywhere. And the thing is, like, I follow a million homesteading groups on Facebook and other homesteading channels. And because we learn so much from other homesteads and you can ask a million questions and troubleshoot. And when you're really excited and you want to share some weird thing that only homesteaders are going to get, then you go on those groups and share it. But the downside of it is you see 5 million pictures or videos of adorable goats in all these places. And it does make it difficult because they're so cute. But yes, I'll order it and send it to your house. Kevin asks pigs, ?
So that's one we have gone back and forth about quite a bit.
A lot.
We're not too concerned about the raising of the pig. Like, they don't seem to be a terribly complicated animal. It's more the fact that we don't really, and we don't want to raise pigs.
Right now.
Sorry. Yeah. I was saying, like, it's not an animal that we're super interested in.
Yeah. Like,
for me, I'm interested in cows, specifically Highland cows. So and we both like the poultry and the birds,
Yeah.
but pigs is not something we're necessarily interested in. And there are lots of local people around us who grow their own meat, grow their own pigs.
Yeah.
So at this point, we're just going to buy a pig at butchering time off of one of them.
Yeah. So we have a friend this year who has offered to grow us a pig at cost because they already grow their own pigs each year. And so they offered to grow us a pig at the cost it costs them to raise it and butcher and process. So that's what we plan to do this year is get our pig raised by them, which is an amazing offer that a friend gave to us. So we said, okay. We've talked about having pigs, like Josh said. I think a key point in homesteading is just like with anything else in life, what interests you and what you enjoy. Like I wouldn't call us hobby farmers, but it is a hobby in a way because we're not making our whole livelihood off of this by any means. So if you're not interested in it, you'll have a harder time staying motivated. The birds are really interesting to us. So it's easier to stay motivated, even though sometimes we're not even motivated with that because real life. But what were you going to say?
I was going to respond to Hoey says, put the pigs in the wetland. We could put the pigs in the wetland. Depending on
Wilbur.
Most breeds will just root it up, and I'm not sure that we want that because I feel like it could help. And they might make some trenches for us and help with drainage, but they could also just destroy everything.
I think we need to research that and also bring in somebody who knows what they're doing locally, maybe.
About pigs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like with wetlands.
Yeah. Well, that's true with wetlands too. Yeah. Good time.
And yeah. It depends on the season. Like last summer was our first summer on this property, and it was a super dry summer. We went 90 days with only 2 small rainstorms in there.
Something like that. Yeah. It was dry.
It was really dry, which it sounds like it happens sometimes, and if not, but so the land wasn't super wet down there. So yeah, I don't know. This question is, what has been the greatest high, like the high point of homesteading, I guess? Greatest high.
I would probably say putting 57 chickens into the freezer.
Yeah, maybe so.
That'd be one of the greatest highs for me. It's growing that much meat for ourselves.
Yeah, and I think putting it on the table. Although we could not, after our first butcher, we could not even imagine.
We couldn't eat chicken for a couple of days.
No, it was at least a week. It was at least a good week. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's funny when you actually do your own butchering. I don't know. At least we experienced. The second time we butchered last summer, it was definitely easier to eat. I think we had chicken the next day for dinner.
Yeah.
But
at night, actually, I think about it.
Yeah, it was pretty. It was a pretty fast turnaround.
Yeah, it's just the first time.
Yeah, greatest high. That's interesting. I think I would agree. Like it's putting the food on your table and knowing that you know everything they ate. You know that they lived a happy little chicken life. You know, a healthy life. You know what they ate. Yeah. So I think I would agree. And the converse of that, I guess, is the lowest low that we've experienced with homesteading. These are some deep questions, guys. Lowest low. I don't know. I think death. Death just in general,
just telling about butchering all the chickens, but
yeah, I think butchering is hard. It's a different kind of hard. But just when an animal dies.
Like when you're not expecting it to.
Yeah, unexpectedly.
Last week or something like that, I was working on the chicken coop, and I was fixing the door, and the door was super heavy, and I was trying to hold it and put the hinges back on at the same time. And I slipped and stepped back, and I stepped right on one of our chickens, one of our layers that we got and raised from a day old.
Yeah. Part of the A team. They were the originals.
Yeah. And we don't know what we did to her, but she was fading quickly. So
yeah,
I couldn't even do it. Sarah had to go and and put her out of her misery.
Yeah. So she was bleeding out of her
So
mouth. So something wasn't
Death
right
like
inside.
that
so,
is
yeah.
the lowest low, is what I
Yeah.
would say.
Which I think it is a reality. But I think, like, we talked about this a lot, like when it was accidentally, but when it was your responsibility and you inflicted that, it's really hard. Like, it's hard to process because it's like, what have I done? But I mean, it's like, it's not like it wasn't on purpose. You slipped, right?
Yeah.
But it still sucks. It's still, I would say that's the lowest low. I think we're both on the same page with that.
Yeah.
Biggest growing moment.
Biggest growing moment.
Hmm.
I'm not really sure though. I'm not really sure, though. I do remember a significant point where I was like, "Oh wow, we have grown," and that was when I was at the local country store and someone was talking about how they wanted to raise meat birds this year, and they're like, "But I don't know if we can do the butchering." I was like, "Oh, you don't want to do the butchering?" Or you don't know how to do the butchering, you can come over and we'll show you how, and that kind of thing. Is like,
Are they coming?
I have no idea. They have a contact information. But just a few years ago, we were like watching all the videos we could to learn how to butcher.
Yeah.
And now I'm like offering our help as like this.
We'll help you butcher.
Yeah, we know exactly what we're doing. It's like, what?
Yeah.
When did I get here?
Yeah, that's I like that. That's really interesting because like last year before, like we've watched probably way too many hours of butchered chickens. Not because we're weird, but because we want to make sure we're doing it right. But we also actually did it hands-on before we ever got one chicken, because I looked at Josh 4 years ago now, and I said, if we're ever going to own chickens and butcher them, I need to know that I can do it. Yeah. And so we went and helped a local guy back in Ontario where we were living, and we butchered and processed like, I don't know, 90 some birds.
Yeah.
It was him and a couple other guys that brought their birds together. Yeah.
They might have thought we were crazy. Like, we didn't have any birds.
We don't have any birds.
Like,
why do you want to butcher chickens?
Help you butcher.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
But last year, that being said, even though we had watched all those hours of videos, we still didn't have the internet, going back to that whole no internet at the time thing. We sat outside the library because everything was still closed because of COVID.
Actually.
Was it outside of Walmart? With our notebooks. No, Canadian Tire. We're sitting outside of Canadian Tire. We probably look like crazy people sitting there with our notebooks with my phone hooked up to Canadian Tire's Wi-Fi, watching chicken butchering videos, and just like with our notes, we're both taking our notes, and we made each other, we quizzed each other. This is probably more information than you want. The night before, because we were like, we don't want to do this wrong.
Yeah.
And we took each other's notebooks away, and we said, okay, you have to tell me the entire process, every step of what we need to do. And we made ourselves watch those videos until we could do that process, because we knew we didn't have Google at our house to then go and just look it up. And we weren't allowed to go to neighbors' houses stuff because of COVID and everything at the time. It was super strict. So we were like, we have to know what we're doing here, because we cannot stop in the middle
of the process.
Yeah, absolutely.
What research did you do before starting the homestead? Any book recommendations?
Oh, that's really good.
Research before. What got us started is another YouTube channel, Justin Rhodes. He's down in North Carolina. Really close to where she grew up, actually.
And we started watching his channel because I wanted to see my old hometown when I was little.
Yeah. And he knows a lot about. He started out with doing a lot about chickens. Since he's branched out, but that's who we started watching. And if you watch it from his older stuff, like, it really, you can see his homestead develop, and that's kind of what got us open the door to it.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, it was pretty much YouTube most of the way.
Mm-hmm.
Reading
Joel Salatin's book, The Pigginess of Pigs. Yeah, phenomenal book. It's not about specifically how to raise pigs, FYI. Yeah. So don't buy it if you can read it.
Another book that I actually would highly recommend, not necessarily for the academic side of research, but more the uniqueness of animals and raising animals would be The Secret Life of Cows. I don't remember who the author is. We got the book from the library.
Oh yeah.
I don't think you ever read it.
I read like the first 2 chapters.
It's about
very typical for me in books.
It's about a farm in England, and they raise cattle. And I almost spoil it, but it's a very good book. Again, not very academic, but very relational, I would say.
Huh.
Which is weird when you're talking about cows.
Yeah. But we have a firm belief in stewarding whatever is handed to us, and we don't do it perfectly by any means, but like we truly believe like we are stewards of this earth, and we are stewards of the creatures on it. And gone are the days when we laugh when a chicken's head gets cut off, because like growing up you hear about cut off a chicken's head, the body's going to run around, and as a kid that's a hilarious concept, or at least it was to me. Maybe I was a really twisted kid, but the idea of a chicken running around without its head was hilarious. But since being in this journey and working with animals and taking care of them, that's a little life right there, and we give thanks for that animal's life, and then we gratefully take it. And we do believe that it's okay to do that, but that animal needs to have been cared for well in the whole time that it lived. We firmly believe in that. So some of those books, like Joel Salatin, we're a big fan of that. He talks a lot about how we steward these creatures in the land. Yeah.
I haven't read any of his books, but also if you're not new to homesteading, you probably heard his name. And Greg Judy, he's a pasture guy, rotational grazing.
Yeah.
I've been watching his stuff recently on grazing animals, and also very good stuff there. Market Gardener, I've heard a lot about it. I've never actually read it myself. I did grow up going to farmers markets with my parents, so kind of grew up in that realm. If you decide to take vacation, do you have someone to step and look after your animals while you're gone? We haven't arranged that yet. Yeah. Because we haven't really taken vacation since all this COVID stuff.
Yeah, there's no vacations happening.
Yeah.
That being said,
we have staycations.
Yeah. That means that we don't have a ton of animals that are super intensive to look after. So, I mean, I don't want to volunteer any of our friends and say, oh, they'll just come watch our animals. So we haven't had those conversations, but we haven't needed to at the same time. So that's like one of those things, like if we get a dairy cow at some point, then that will take having that relationship set up somewhere. I do believe that it is findable. That's not a word. I do believe we can find someone in our community to do that, especially as our homesteading connections grow. But I would say always, being very wise and careful on who you let come take care of your animals. You want somebody who's going to steward them the same way you would.
Like currently, I think in the mornings it takes me maybe 15 minutes to feed the birds, and then we collect eggs. Probably could collect them at the end of the day. We usually collect them halfway through the day, and then now that the winter's over and we're moving the ducks and geese to the pond, we don't have to worry about their water. So it's basically just time will actually shorten up now. So it's probably gonna be like 10 to 15 minutes in the morning, and then letting the birds out and then putting them back in at night. And that's about it. Yeah, it's more like infrastructure, like built out, repairing stuff, moving fences, moving paddocks when you're doing the meat birds. Meat birds are a little more intensive, but not that much. Yeah. But I do think you have to be wise with who you pick. But there was something in here. Raven Frost was talking about a lame duck that they're gonna have to probably put out. I think just going back to that point for a second, someone was saying the rough situations are all part of it, especially the unplanned deaths. Even though they don't make it into the video montages, always glad to hear about the realities, even the hard stuff. Like, I think that, like that's what they were saying right there. I think that is so important, because just like any other YouTube channel or whatever you watch, like it's a curated, selected set of clips, which tells a story that you want to tell, but we control the narrative, which, like, we're more than happy to share like those hard things.
because I think they are really useful. And I would not want anyone to jump into homesteading. And there's a huge movement of people getting into homesteading, which we're excited about. We're all for, but at the same time too, it is not perfect. And there are things that aren't easy. Like there are so many pros, but there are cons. And being educated about those things, and some of it you learn as you go, and then other things, if you can know about it beforehand. Yeah. That being said, I don't know if you'll ever see me posting a video of any of that kind of stuff, just because I think there are occasional kids who watch the channel and that kind of thing. And I don't know, it's just not what we want to put out like as on the actual video footage. But like that being said, I have a whole video about butchering that you'll never see on the YouTube channel because I just don't want to put it on there. But if you want to see the video because you want to figure out how to butcher, sure, just send us an email. I have one more question here I think we'll read, and then if there's any more in the comments, we'll grab them, but then we won't stay on here too much crazy longer. I like this one. This is most interesting thing you learned.
I think we actually, we both agree on this one.
We talked about it earlier, but I don't remember what it was. That's so funny.
So it kind of, yeah.
Yes, I do remember.
I wouldn't say it was like a blow my mind. It was just, wow. Yeah. That is an amazing part of creation.
Yeah.
And it's the fact that geese mate for life.
Yeah.
And I might have been told that in the past, but it didn't really hit me until having geese to raise ourselves that, you know, these two geese, they mate for life.
Yeah.
And, you know, sometimes there's a third goose in there, but for the most part, it's just the pair.
Yeah, they're so loyal. Like those are, and then like when the mama goose is setting on her eggs, when she gets up to go take that much needed break, the daddy goose steps in and then guards the eggs.
Bye, Monica.
Oh yeah, thanks for hanging out with us. Yeah, like I love that. I love the fact that they work together. They share the load. And they mate for life. We should be geese. We are geese. We're gonna be geese. Okay. So anyway, it's so funny that we both thought that. Yeah, earlier when I was asking him, like we read some of these questions or whatever, right? And I said my answer to Josh. Like I was telling him that's what I think was the most interesting thing. He's like,
and I came up with some lame one but then I was like, because you stole mine.
Yeah. So we had both really thought like, okay, like that's the most interesting thing. Yeah. Anyway. So, okay. So I'm not seeing any more questions, but if we missed your question, really sorry. Feel free to drop it in the comments below one of these videos once it's done. If you're watching this live stream when it's no longer live, thanks for sticking with us for an hour and 12 minutes. Also, if you are new to the channel, thanks for subscribing. I was just looking and we are at 400 subscribers and mind blown. Really appreciate you guys following along on our journey. It's actually
subscribers in a year.
Yeah, it's really humbling. There were some ladies.
Months,
11 months. Because end of this month we'll have been on YouTube for a year. On the episode that came out tonight, there was a couple of people chatting about our countertops, and I was so humbled, like that they recognized our countertops, number one, and that they liked them, but just like we really appreciate our viewers. We really do. And you make it fun. We love interacting with you guys. So it's a lot of fun. Just a little like technical things. If there's a book we mentioned or a channel or something that you want to know more about, just drop us a comment or send us a message. We'd love to find that resource for you. I don't remember what all we said. And also, hi, Heritage Farms. Thanks for jumping in. Also, if you don't already, we're over on Instagram, Sissibu Acres Homestead, same name. We share a little bit more of behind the scenes and just random things about our homestead life throughout the week in between our videos. So if you want to keep up with us more there, also, if you want to send us DMs, you're more than welcome to. We'll try to answer your questions. I think that's about it. Yeah.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out with us, guys. I love getting your questions. We'll have to do it again.
Live wasn't too bad. It wasn't too scary. You guys made it a lot of fun. So thanks for chiming in with your questions, and thanks for hanging out with us on the homestead this week.
Stay tuned for the next video.
All right. See you guys.
Bye.
I don't know if I